everybody. Welcome to Electrician Live, where we talk about anything that has to do with electricians. So on today's episode, we are going to talk knives and my recommendation for a knife. So if you're an apprentice or you're a journeyman, hell, even if you're a master electrician, you got a knife. You should have a knife by now. When you're acquiring a knife, I think of knife like any tool. When I got a knife, man, it's my knife. And I use it. And I carry this knife around with me, and I have for years. This is not a new knife, okay? It's been around. But when people ask me different things, I get calls all the time. People say, Paul, what knife do you use, or did you use, or what knife do you recommend for a journeyman or apprentice or somebody coming up in the trades? And I do like anything. I said, you'll migrate to the tools you like. You will migrate to, hell, I don't know, any type of thing that you used to, a manufacturer that you like, and you'll start using them. So years ago, I was introduced to a knife that was kind of at the time revolutionary in a sense that it was created just for the electrician. And so I was like, crap, man, I like things that are tailored to what I do. I buy things tailored to what I like. In other words, I'm an electrician, just like you are. And when I see something that is geared specifically to electricians, dude, I jump all over it. And in this case, I bought multiples because I knew that it would dull over time, and I got such a good deal on it, and that I could send it away to the manufacturer to have it sharpened factory specs, or I could do it myself. But there's some intricate little pieces that are hard to sharpen. If you have a diamond file, you can. But, you know, I always get another one in. So I would buy multiples. And at the time, they were really not cost effective. Now they are extremely cost effective. And I would have multiples. So like anything, so you're an electrician and you want to know, what knife should I get? Now there's people that debate the different knives, and everybody has their own, you know, Ford versus Chevy, right? Everybody likes this, that, whatever. So I like a drop point knife, okay? I like the drop point, or close to a drop point knife. I'm not a big hook bill fan, although hook bills are great, maybe for big tray cable, but I'm not. In fact, when I do big tray cable in a day, I used to have the hooks with the actual flat tip on the end, so that once I plunged, I can run it down and run that flat piece against the conductors inside and strip it. It's kind of what I would do. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about this knife, and I'll show you how I kind of do it. So this knife is put out by a company called SOG, S-O-G, and it's an electrician's knife. Of course, some people refer to it as an alignment's knife as well, but the reason I know it's an electrician's knife is, I don't know if you can tell, and I'll hold it up there. You see it has on the blade a receptacle device. So that knows it's electricians, right? So 440C steel blade, so it's corrosion resistant. I've had this one for a while. Upstairs I have another one. It's in this case, unopened, and it's paper. And I haven't needed it because this one's lasted for years. It's not a new knife. It's not something that's like new for 2019. It's been out a few years, right? And so I had other ones, Kleins and Greenlees and all that type of stuff, and they all work great. And you have some Kleins with the actually in the blade, you have some notches that are for 10 gauge, 12 gauge, and 14 that you basically would put your wire on it, put your thumb against it, and you could just do this and it come right off. That's fine. I just didn't like the notches in there when it wasn't being used. Okay, that was just me. So talk a little about this. So this is a SOG, and if I was telling people, and it's called Kilowatt. If I was telling people to get that knife and you're looking for something that is tailored to the trade, you know, it's for electricians. And SOG makes this, and it is very sturdy. Now, one of the complaints that people have about these knives is that they say that it's too tight to open. And that is all adjusted here, so it just tells me they don't really know anything about knives. But a knife that's new needs to work a little bit. You need to get used to it, right? So this case, it opens up pretty quickly. You know, it's just, you know, it's just like that. It's, you know, and you don't need that. What are you, defending your life, or are you cutting some wire? Okay, so yeah, it's not spring assisted. I wouldn't want that in a everyday knife. Razor sharp, by the way. Okay, it has a thumb assist here. But here's the neat thing about it, is that in this knife, It's got, now sorry it's blurry, I don't have auto zoom on, it's just focused on me. Here we have individual stripping. So this won't open, right, because it's part of the locking mechanism. But once I lock this down, okay, then what happens is this pops up. And it has a range from 22 gauge all the way up to 10 gauge. So if I'm stripping non-metallic sheet cable, for example, and I'm here, I also control the depth for tray cable depending on how I wrap it around my fingers. So I wrap it in my fingers like that, and I expose the end only to the depth that I'm willing to plunge into the non-metallic, and it's at an angle. So I'm kind of lifting up on the non-metallic sheathing as I do it. It takes a little practice, but you'll get it. And so I can control the depth depending on how I cradle the blade. Now, again, you see here, I'm not getting my fingers, there you go, overly near the blade. I'm not worried about it. It takes a little practice, but I'm doing it in a way where I'm bracing against the non-metallic and I'm wrapping around. It's hard to see it. I'm wrapping around so that I can control the depth here, and it's all like a guide. But I'm not really coming anywhere near the blades. I'm really not. I'm resting it on the side of the blade. So once I take it here and I take a piece of non-metallic sheet cable and I plunge it in and I slowly lift a little bit to give that angle, and I just slide it right on down. And because of the drop tip, I like it better than the hook. That's just me. You different. Others will argue. But again, I like it that style because it's more versatile for me when I'm cutting things, packaging, opening, and everything like that. It's got a locking mechanism, okay? So it won't come back down. Now the other thing that it's got is these stripping here. Now it allows you to strip here like a cable, like a multi-conductor cable for a telephone or whatnot can go right in here, and it uses the blade and it puts in there and you just take it and it strips right off. But also you have these two smaller holes that allow you to do 8 gauge and 6 gauge. Again, you have these that'll do 10 all the way down to, I believe it's 22 gauge if necessary down here. You also have this on the back that would also allow you to strip out just plain old, I've done coax cable on this, for example, because I let the tension of that alone. I put the coax cable in there like an RG59 or something, and I put that on there and I just work it around it. It comes right off. So that's a neat built-in feature, but it also will strip cable as well, like a multi-conductor cable, like a telephone cable as well. Okay, you let the pressure of this spring activate it by itself. Nothing extra needs to be done in order to strip it. Okay. So all those features are built into this, and it is geared as a belt clip as well. It is one thing it doesn't have is a loop on the end of it, which you get in some brands, but if it's a one blade like this, okay, it doesn't have all these features, okay, and that would interfere with this here. So again, it will slide into one of the pockets of your tool pouch and slide right down in it or right on the tool belt. But let's talk a little bit about, if you're an electrician, you like things that are unique, right, to you. Now, of course, people that listen on the podcast, you can't see me demoing it, so you can hear me talking about it. You need to go over to our YouTube channel and watch the video on it as well. So if you're listening to it, you get a chance to see this thing. So there it is. I can't focus it in because I've got the focus features set for me. But there it is. Has all those features built into it. It's got the grips for the fingers cut out, so it really gives you a firm, stable, and it's got the raised here that you can really get your finger in it if necessary. But it's really lightweight, yet the polymer handle really keeps it. Now, neat is it's got electrical symbols, diagrams on the side of it, so you know it's an electrician. Not to mention it's got the receptacle etched into it. But it's called the Kilowatt. It's made just for electricians. Of course, anybody could probably use it. The other thing that I like, it has a curved reinforced belt clip, and then it goes up and then turns into the actual material here, so it's not just swinging. It can't loose this way. It actually comes up and turns into the actual handle, so it keeps the actual belt clip steady, and you don't have to worry about that spinning around or that type of thing. So, and again, that's all controlled through the set screw here, which controls the blade tension as well. But I can tell you mine came pretty darn loose, but not too loose. No wiggle on it at all. No forgiveness this way. I like that. It's locked in place, and of course you have your locking mechanism here. You turn it and you simply bring it back down, and again, once it's down, then you can utilize these other features because that's built into the lock, as well as the inner blade allows you to be able to use these holes because it's utilizing the blade itself as the stripping mechanism once you put it in. So you take it here, you put your wire through there, bring this back down, move it, pull it right off, you're good to go. So as a residential electrician, I can see you using this quite a bit. So you get to non-metallic and you're going to strip it prior to putting it in. You come here, you strip it down, you kind of go into the non-metallic about in the middle where the equipment ground is. And so you're not going to the insulated conductors, you're going into the middle. Go plunge it in, you set your depth here by your fingers, wherever you position on the blade, and you're going to go only in enough to get to your finger, and then you kind of raise up a little bit, cock it up away from the conductors towards, once it's in the insulation, you raise it, and you just simply pull it on down, guiding it on down the wire. Let the wire be your guide, or the cable. And then once you get to the end, you pull it back, cut it off, and now you can close it, turn it over, and you open that end up, and now you get your 12 gauge or your 10 gauge, you put it in there, or your 14, put it in there, close it, strip it off, next one, close it. And if you get really used to it, you can do it with one hand. You can pull it up like that, put it in, put it down, open it again, put another one in, pull it. So it allows you to use one tool. Now, every electrician loves to carry around their tools, and I always used to love on a site where I see an electrician carrying his entire tool bag. Great, tear your back up in time, but I don't know that you need every tool that's in there. Now, I got to the point when I was an apprentice and a journeyman that I used to have all the tools and I'd carry them all around. As I got further on and more experience, I realized which tools I used the most. So I went to a smaller little tool bag that would fit on my waist that I didn't need, but my side cutters, my diagonal cutters, 2 screwdrivers, Phillips and a straight, and I would have my knife, and I'd have a roll of electrical tape, things like that. So it was very small and light because I didn't need everything in my tool pouch. Okay. Now my tool pouch was on site, but again, so that's always been a joke where people would look at it and say, well, how do you tell an electrician that's got 25 years experience versus one that's green? Is the guy's running around carrying all of his tools. Now that's fine. I'm not saying anything against that. I love to see that ambition and that drive in an electrician. I do. Trust me. However, if you take an account of the number of tools you use on a project, you might realize that you're only using 4 or 5 tools. So I always recommend that you have a secondary smaller pouch that you can put on in order to reduce that weight so you're more nimble and you're not being drugged down by it. And again, it can play a toll on you at the end of the day. You might not feel it now, but you will feel it eventually. All that weight pulling down on your side. Okay, call me a pussy, whatever. At the end of the day, that's what I'm focusing on, right? Is what I can be more efficient with. So this is an example. So this is the knife that I recommend, and it's got a lot of features in it. So if you're an electrician, you're apprentice or journeyman, and you're looking for that knife that really screams electrician, it screams to you, and you've got a hook bill, that's great. But get you one of these, because this is also a conversation piece, man. When I go anywhere and I say, look at here, this knife is made for electricians, not for you plumbers, not for you HVAC guys. This is my electrician's knife. It strips, it cuts, it does anything. Oh, you don't like what I said about you? It also protects me. It does everything that I need it to do in a knife. So anyway, get yourself a SOG Kilowatt work knife. It's awesome. I love it. So anyway, guys, that's our podcast and vidcast for today. I want to do a shout out again and remind you that on January 4th, we have our inaugural show where we're going to do vidcast podcast. And so you'll be able to watch you listen from our websites, whether you want to listen to a podcast or you want to watch the video. Okay, we'll be streaming it from our YouTube channel, Master the NEC. As you can see up here, you have the ticker. That is on Skype. You can call in using Master the NEC as the call ID, and you can call into the show. I'll obviously, when you call in, we'll all hear you ringing in. We'll let you on the show. Hopefully you keep it clean as best as you can. In fact, I probably used one cuss word in this video that I probably have never used on camera before, and I probably shouldn't have because I have an image. Not really. But anyway, at the end of the day, awesome knife. I love it. Get yours today. Till next time, folks, stay safe. God bless.